'Cause when I'm in a room with you, that missing piece is found. You know when you're by my side, darling, nothing can break us down. It's like when you're far away from me, I get lost in the crowd. Because when I'm in a room with you, that missing piece is found. Slow down on Monday, not south. On Wednesday, might get loud. On Friday, but on Saturday, we paint the town. Lose my sense of time on 2 weeks, feel like days. Medicaid in the afternoon, and I just want to know, have you lost your footing too? I just pray that I'm not losing you. Catch me floating circles in my fishbowl, keep things fresh. She said that I should change my clothes. I exaggerate the life we used to know. Slow down on Monday, not south. On Wednesday, might get loud. On Friday, but on Saturday, we paint the town. You're good, these are my dancing shoes. Paint the town. You're good, thought I would dance with you. Might get loud. On Friday, but on Saturday, we paint the town. Feeling great. Life moves slow on the ocean floor. Feeling great. I can't feel the waves anymore. Did the tide forget to move? I just pray that I'm not losing you. Catch me floating circles in my fishbowl, keep things fresh. She said that I should change my clothes. I exaggerate the life we used to know. Yeah.
Working on music?
Yeah.
I'll just go to bed. I'm tired.
I want to watch Friends with you.
If you feel like you have time to do a song or you're inspired, you should just go for it.
Slow down on Monday, not south. On Wednesday, might get loud. On Friday, but on Saturday, we paint the town. Might get loud. On Friday, but on
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The opening ceremony is about to commence.
Keep me dreaming while I'm still awake. And I'm into you. Sometimes it's hard to learn from all your mistakes. Oh, devil, I'm glad that you came. Guess I should learn how to live because you won't go away. Someone's calling for me. Something's calling for me again.
Good morning, everyone. If I could ask you to take your seats, please. We're about to begin. Thank you.
Till I pick up the phone, look for your number and dial. Devil, I'm in my own hell. And deep inside, I'm sure I got it all by myself. Someone's calling for me. Something's calling for me again. Control.
Good morning. My name is Vanessa Owen, and I have the great pleasure of being a part of the Farnborough International team. It has been a momentous 2 years since the last time we saw you here in Farnborough. It is wonderful to welcome our ecosystem, from airlines to academia, the smallest of SMEs to the largest of primes, delegations from over 250 countries and numerous consultancies, technology businesses and governments from across the world, here to Farnborough today. It is safe to say that we at Farnborough International are extremely excited for the 5 days ahead. But first, in order to formally welcome you to our show, I'm delighted to introduce to the stage Chief Executive Officer of ADS Group and Chairman of Farnborough International, Mr. Kevin Craven.
Good morning, everyone, and it is my pleasure to be here today to welcome you to the 44th edition of the Farnborough International Airshow. This is a great moment for our country, our industries, and for us, the people behind them. We are proud to provide you with a platform in which to celebrate, do business, and meet like-minded people. At ADS and at Farnborough International, and indeed in the UK, we know and recognise that it is people and the connections between them that support who we are, what we do, and ultimately secure our future advantage, safety and sustainability for the next generation. As we stand here in the birthplace of British aviation, we are reminded that UK aerospace is at a critical juncture, having overcome the worst of the COVID-19 pandemic to return to the front runners of the global aerospace league tables. Our industry is resilient, buoyant even, with current order backlog alone worth approximately £247 billion to the UK economy. That backlog grew 8% in 2024 compared to the same period in 2023. Our industries are buoyant, yes, but the demand is so far outpacing that which we are able to fulfill. So some work to do. Looking wider, ADS sectors are at the heart of UK advanced manufacturing and innovative digital services. Our true value extends beyond our economic footprint, underpinning UK societies, families, and our very way of life. Our industry's value add to the economy of these sectors has grown 50% in the last decade to £38.2 billion, a testament to their dynamism, innovation and ambition. We provide 427,000 jobs throughout the UK, an increase of 1/3 on 2013 figures, and our industries deliver on UK prosperity and innovation, providing a hub for advanced manufacturing and driving our decarbonisation agenda. More than that, they are delivering for people, their families and their communities all over the UK. And our message to all of you here today is this. We say this message to our international partners, our delegations, as much as we do to our new government. His Majesty's government, in post just 2 weeks, have shown their clear commitments to the UK's innovative, ambitious and world-renowned advanced manufacturing sector, with a record number of senior ministers here this week. Whether that's through participating engagements with our closest allies in NATO, outlining sustained support to the Ukraine, and a King's speech that contains several commitments to our sectors, including the Industrial Strategy Council, upon which ADS has campaigned for many years, and the commitments to future sustainability through sustainable aviation. For that and other commitments to securing our workforce for our sectors, it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the stage our Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, for that very kind introduction, and good morning, everyone. It's really good to see so many of you here, many people that I've met before and had intense discussions with before about the important work that you do that has informed my thinking and informed the thinking of the Labour government, which is why you see some of those measures reflected in the King's speech of last week. So I am absolutely delighted to be able to be here again with you, but this time no longer as leader of the opposition, this time as Prime Minister. And please take that in what we're beginning of week 3 in government as a real statement of intent. It's intended to be, and that is why we've got so many senior ministers here during the course of the show. Now look, as you all know, better than most, we live in a dangerous, volatile and increasingly insecure world. And that makes events like this and the role that you play ever more important for the defence and security of our country. And as you may have seen, I've spent quite a lot of time at summits in the last week or two, at NATO and at the European political community. And on Friday, I had the pleasure of meeting the leader of Ukraine, President Zelensky, who came into Downing Street. And at those meetings, whether it's NATO, whether it's the EPC, or whether it's seeing President Zelensky, as I did on Friday, it always gives me great comfort to know that Britain is at the cutting edge of defence and aerospace manufacturing. So thank you not only for being here today, but also for everything that you do for the security of our country. Now, we are in week 3, or just beginning week 3 in government. The work of change has begun. The patient rebuilding of our country has started. And we've launched our strategic defence review. We've taken the brakes off Britain with a plan for wealth creation in every community, planning reform to get Britain building again, something many of us in the room have discussed with you on many occasions. And we're getting started on a new industrial strategy. Again, a concept that came very much from you to us in terms of the sort of way in which you want the partnership between government and your sector to work. They are all signals of our intent to deliver high living standards for working people, economic security and national security. But of course, we know that national renewal, it's not going to happen overnight. We are fixing the very foundation of our country, and that is long and patient work. But I can announce another step along that road today, another marker of the future, with the launch of a new organisation that we hope will transform not just how we train our young people and adults, but also the relationship between business and the education system. A plan to make sure that we're training young people not just for any business, but for the businesses that exist in their communities, the skills that you and they need to take each other forward. So I'm delighted that today we're launching Skills England and appointing Richard Pennycook as the interim chair. And I'm excited for the work that we can do together. I've just met this morning some of the fantastic apprentices, bright, energetic, intelligent, an absolute credit to Airbus and Rolls-Royce. Now, I've met the apprentices in both Airbus and Rolls-Royce many times before. Almost all of my speeches in the last 2 or 3 years have featured examples of the work that they are doing. And it was brilliant to meet them here again this morning. Some of them were from a group that I met just a few months ago in Derby. So to renew that, one of them was just 2 weeks into her apprenticeship. And so they were an incredible reminder of the talent that we have going forward. And I was allowed to speak to them without anybody else listening in because I wanted to hear directly from them and ask them, as I always do, what inspired them to do it, what gave them that spark. And then towards the end of the time I had with them this morning, I said, what do you want me to think about? Because this is a government of service. You're entitled to have your say. What do you want me to think about as Prime Minister heading a new government? And after a few moments, they were pretty clear in their collective view that they wanted me and the government to think about the value of apprentices and to make sure that that was valued alongside the other things that so many young people do. And that was them to me, and I think for all of you, you'll be really proud that that was their first thought, that was what they wanted me to think about as I go home from here. And so they are a reminder of the incredible talent that we do have in this country. Young people with drive, ambition, and hopes of a better future. But we do have also, to be honest, all too often young people in our country have been let down, not given access to the right opportunities or training in their community. And that's created an over-reliance in our economy on higher and higher levels of migration. Now, I don't for a second want to demean any of that. I do not criticise businesses who hire overseas workers. And I certainly don't diminish the contribution that migration makes to our economy, to our public services, and of course to our communities. Migration is part of our national story. It always has been, always will be. And yet, if you stand back, as a system, it cannot be right that some people don't get to feel the pride of making a contribution, the dignity of work, just because we can't find a way of creating a coherent skills system. That can't be right. So I have to say that we won't be content just to pull the easy lever of importing skills. We're turning the page on that. But I want to be clear as well, we are going to make sure that there are highly motivated, ambitious, talented young people who want to work in your business. That is our long-term ambition. We're going to fire up the training of more UK workers and match people's aspirations, which I know are there, with more opportunity. And in doing this, we will drive growth. Because if there's one thing we know that will drive innovation and accelerate productivity, it's having the skilled workers you need to grow your business. So from the get-go, Skills England will work with the Migration Advisory Committee. We will identify current and future skills gaps, put in place plans to address those gaps, and reduce our long-term reliance on overseas workers. We will also identify the training on which the growth and skills levy can be spent, something that I've spent many hours discussing with many people in this room. You told me it was not flexible enough, didn't work well enough for you, and we will change that with the growth and skills levy, giving you more flexibility to spend funds on the training that you think is really necessary. And Skills England will bring together central and local government, training providers and unions, working together in broader partnership with business. And this is key. Because I said on the steps of Downing Street 2 weeks ago Thursday, that I wanted to govern for the whole country. And part of that is making sure we all understand each other's needs, that we move beyond old antagonisms and work for the common cause of national renewal. A partnership. So today, with the launch of Skills England, we're putting that partnership into action. Now, we listened to you during the campaign and over the last few years. We listened to you when we were developing our plan for growth. And that informs it. Some of your fingerprints are on our plan, and I hope they reflect the conversations that we had. And we'll carry on listening, because that's how a partnership works. We are making demands. We want growth. We want you to power up that growth. But you equally can say to us, in order for that to work, this is the framework that you need to put into place. That's how a partnership works, where both sides understand what their part is, but recognise they're not the same part, Government and business do different things. And that's why we'll have our new industrial strategy, on the Defence Strategic Review, and on much, much more. Together, I do believe we can deliver that growth and security, fix the foundations, put our economy on a stable footing, and create a coherent skills system. And everyone here has a vital part to play in this mission on growth. You already do an incredible amount. And I believe that with a government of service on your side, we can do even more. And in that spirit, it really is a huge honour, so early in this government, to open the airshow and to hope that you all have a productive time, which I'm sure that you will. Use it, obviously, intensely in the time that we've got here together. And please keep talking and impressing on us the things that are important to you. Thank you so much for allowing me to make these remarks. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your huge contribution to our country. Thank you. I'm now going to take a number of questions from the media, starting with the BBC and Nick Eardley. Nick.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Can I firstly ask you about the situation with President Biden? How worried are you about instability? And do you think President Biden is capable of serving the last 6 months in office? And if I may, about skills, when will you deliver results? You've talked about this not being easy, but when can people expect to see enough domestic workers to bring down migration? Is it a year, 2 years, longer?
Nick, firstly on President Biden, can I first say, given that we're here at this airshow, how much President Biden cares about defence and security, has made that central to his leadership. And of course, he led us through the NATO Council just 10 days or so ago, a really important NATO summit, a bigger NATO, a stronger NATO, and a NATO with real resolve. I respect the decision that he has now made. Not an easy decision, but a decision that I know that he will have arrived at, taking into account the best interests of the American people. And I look forward to working with him for the remainder of his presidency. In relation to skills, look, there's no quick fix on this, but on skills, we do know what is needed. That's why Skills England has been set up. That's why we're going to change the levy, because we've listened good and hard to what people in this room have said to me about the levy having some good aspects but not working as well as it should. We can change that straight away. And making sure that we've got the right skills in the right place. That is about bringing businesses, political leaders and others together, training providers in their area to provide the skills that are going to be needed. So I'm not going to put an arbitrary date on this, but I'm absolutely determined that we will get the skills that we need in the areas that we need them. It's been a long-time problem, we know that. It's been years and years been talking about this, but I'm very pleased that in what will become week 3 of the Labour government, we're already taking the early steps to fix this problem. Thank you, Nick. I've got Harry from ITV. Harry.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Your Education Secretary this morning has said that your government will consider scrapping the 2-child benefit cap. Is she right? And then on the US, Vice President Kamala Harris is now the frontrunner to be the Democratic nominee. Have you met her before? What's your relationship like with her? What do you think of her?
Look, in relation to poverty, what the Education Secretary said this morning, I agree with, which is she's passionate about tackling poverty and child poverty in particular. She spoke very powerfully this morning because she speaks as a woman who grew up in poverty. Everybody who knows her background knows how hard it was for her. So that's why I'm very pleased that she's one of the chairs of our task force on tackling child poverty. And we will make sure that the strategy covers all the bases to drive down child poverty. No child should grow up in poverty. The last Labour government did a huge amount of work on this with a very good strategy. I intend that we will do the same with the same commitment and passion. And I'm very, very pleased that the Education Secretary is one of the leaders of that role. In relation to the future, now President Biden is stepping down. Obviously, in the first instance, it's for the Democratic Party to decide who they want to put forward. It is then for the American people to decide who they want as their president. My approach will be to respect that decision-making and to be clear that we will work with whoever the American people elect into office, as you would expect, particularly given the nature of the special relationship between our two countries, forged in difficult circumstances, endured for years, and very important to me and very important to all American presidents. Thank you very much. Sam from Sky.
Prime Minister, given not just President Biden's announcement last night, but really the events in the US over the last fortnight, which at times have beggared belief, is the US really the dependable, reliable ally it once was? And you're saying this morning that you want to improve skills training to get British jobs for British workers effectively, but of those seeking work, almost half come from India, coming from India or Nigeria, most commonly to work in the health and social care sector. Isn't it pay, not skills, that's going to make the difference here? And how should we judge you at the impact of your skills policy on migration? Is there a metric we can follow to show success?
Sam, in relation to the first part of your question, yes, of course the US is a reliable and trusted ally, has been for many, many years. And you could see that in the NATO Council just 10 days or so ago, because we are all clear that we face an increasingly insecure world. I think we're all clear at the value of NATO and the role that NATO needs to play now, as important now as it was when it was created, in my view. And the Americans hosted the council, drove through with President Biden the leadership of that council, and it was a great success. So at the end of the 2 days, not only was it the first NATO council with as many members as were around the table in terms of the countries there present, stronger in its resolve, particularly on Ukraine. President Zelensky claimed and said it was clear in his mind it was a success in terms of the support for Ukraine at this critical moment. And I felt very strong. The resolve of NATO was as strong as I've ever known it. And so that is the direct evidence, if you like, of the reliability of that partnership, and the special relationship is very important to us. I had the chance to talk to President Biden about the importance of the relationship, and both of us expressed how important it is to both of our countries. In relation to skills, look, we're setting up Skills England, which will look at the interrelationship between migration and skills. I'm absolutely clear that we need to get that balance right, and everybody needs to play their part. We shouldn't have as high a level of migration as we do simply because we haven't got a skills strategy that works. That's not common sense, and we need to change it. An element of that will be about pay, of course, and social care would be an example, the example you give. And that's why the first of our fair pay agreements will be in that sector, to ensure that we tackle that issue of social care. But it'll be more than one aspect here. It'll have to be across-the-board strategy. Thank you very much, Sam. I've got Dave from the Mirror.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Dave Bates from the Daily Mirror here. Are you prepared to sign off on above-inflation pay rises for million and public sector workers as recommended by the independent boards? Do you think 5.5% is realistic, and what do you think the dangers are of not doing so?
Well, let me start by saying how much I respect the contribution that public sector workers make to our economy. And I think it's very important to start with that basic respect and thanks. We will take a sensible approach. We will consider the recommendations and make an announcement in due course. As I think you know, the Chancellor is doing a full analysis of the financial constraints and challenges and be making announcements in due course in relation to this. Thank you very much. I've got Max from the Times.
Scores of MPs from your party have called on you to scrap the two-child benefit cap. You've said it's a tough decision that you don't take lightly, but is there a split in your party, and will you seriously consider their demands?
I'm not surprised that there's a real passion about this in the Labour Party. You'd expect there to be. Child poverty is something that we need to eradicate. And there's a very strong feeling in the Labour Party and Labour movement about that. That is precisely why I set up the task force to tackle child poverty. There is no silver bullet. If there was a silver bullet, it had been shot a very long time ago. It's a complicated set of factors that I know and I can see every day in my own constituency, to do with pay, to do with benefits, to do with work, to do with housing, to do with education, to do with health. And that is why you need a strategy to deal with it, which is why we set up, a very strongly chaired body to drive forward that work. So I'm not surprised we're having a debate about it. It's good that we're having a debate about it. What matters is that we turn that into action and reduce child poverty, which is what I'm determined that we will do. Harry from The Sun.
Good morning, Prime Minister. Thank you. Harry Cole from The Sun. You say you're here to listen to industry. Can you confirm then whether or not the Global Combat Air Programme is on the table as part of your defence review? Or can you reassure some very nervous-looking people in this room that you will never abandon the Tempest project? And on migration, can you pledge that you will also not undo the changes the previous government made earlier this year on student dependence, despite pressure from the university sector to unpick some of those changes, given their forecast to lead to a fall in legal migration this year?
Yeah, Harry, let me first deal with the programme because, look, it is an important programme and I know that people in the room will want to hear me say that. It's a programme on which we're making significant progress, in my view, and the Defence Secretary is holding a ministerial level meeting, I think next week, in relation to this because of the significant benefits here in this country. So that's my attitude to it. There is, of course, a review going on, but it's important for me to put on record just how important a programme this is. In relation to migration, look, we understand the pressures on migration and why the previous government took the decisions that it did. It has led to some pressures now in relation to higher education. But it is right that we get migration down. It's too high. That's why we have announced today Skills England will be working on this issue to make sure that we've got the skills in place to bring those levels down. That is not to say that no business should ever be hiring from abroad. That is not realistic, it's not good for business, and we wouldn't want to go down that path. But for too long, that's happened because we haven't had the skills available in this country, and I'm determined we will change that. And I think we've got from The Guardian, Eleni.
Thanks. Eleni Correa from The Guardian. Another question, Prime Minister, on public sector pay rises. Do you agree with your Chancellor that there is a cost to not reaching a settlement in terms of strikes?
Yes, I do. And I think that's an important consideration when we come to a final view, which we will announce. There is a cost. There's a cost that's measured in the pounds and pence lost to the economy through industrial action. And there's a cost to the other work that we need to do in relation to the public services that we need to deliver. And that has to be taken account of as we come to a final decision in relation to the pay issue, which we will do and obviously announce with full reasoning in due course. Thank you all very much indeed. Thank you for letting me make my remarks. Thank you for listening and have a very productive time at a very important event here. Thank you very much.
our first Aerospace Global Forum session of the day. The AGF Airline Leaders Summit commences shortly. If you are attending the summit, please make your way to the reception desk outside the room.